Good. Wherever you are, whatever time it is, you are locked in to Streamer University Live around the clock. Here's your campus pulse right now. SU 2026 wrapped its 6 days at Hendrix College in Conway, Arkansas on July 20th. But the story is absolutely not over. We're now in the post-boot camp grind window, and the class of 2026 is out here trying to hold every single follower they earned. The big number to know going into tonight, according to Streams charts, the Streamer University category pulled over 56 million hours watched across those 6 days, making it the most watched Twitch category during that entire period, ahead of just chatting. And the breakout we have to talk about first, Suburb Baby, MVP of the class, went from a few dozen viewers to a personal record of 195K peak concurrent and hit over 777K Twitch followers by closing day. Okay, let's put the receipts on the table right now, because I need to be precise about what Suburb Baby actually did here, because going viral does not cover it. Per Streams charts, he hit 195.3 thousand peak concurrent viewers and walked out of Hendrix College with over 777,000 Twitch followers. And according to social posts circulating after the event, his average viewership jumped from 483 viewers to 60,000, which is not a glow-up, that is a category change. But here's what I actually want to talk about. He did this while getting expelled from the campus storyline. A poolside clash, alleged rule breaks, internet drama, and instead of that killing his momentum, it fed it. That's not luck. That's someone who already knew how to hold a camera's attention. And SU just handed him the stage. Okay, pivot. Because wardrobe winter is the story I do not want to let slip past us. This is a guy who only started streaming on Twitch in June. That is not a typo, June of this year. And according to Streams charts, he walked out of Hendrix with 450K followers, a peak of 67,850 concurrent viewers on July 19th, and over 407K new followers in the last 30 days alone. But here's the thing that makes me put on the brakes. Wardrobe Winter came in with 1.5 million TikTok followers already. This isn't a zero to hero story. This is a platform migration story. And those are two completely different growth challenges. Okay, I have to put the receipts on Suburb Baby right now, because the MVP crown is officially under a cloud. On July 22nd, a creator named Ray, known as Ray Asian Boy, publicly claimed that Suburb Baby's Twitch stream was being view-botted. And this is happening while he's averaging over 40K concurrent viewers post-SU, a number that would be extraordinary for anyone coming out of this event. Suburb Baby addressed it directly on stream, saying, and I'm quoting what's circulating from the clip, that he doesn't know how to bot, and that if he was being botted, it wasn't him. Now here's my actual take. I'm not here to convict him. The reporting is still moving. Twitch has not made a public statement. And 700K new followers in 4 days is a real number that creates real organic momentum. But this allegation does not disappear just because we want the story to be clean. All right. Before we close out this block, I need to drop the story that actually reframes everything we've been talking about. Because this isn't just a recap show anymore. It's a franchise now. At the closing ceremony on July 20th, it was confirmed that Streamer University 2027 is going to Europe. First international expansion. Full stop. And here's why that matters beyond the hype. SU 2026 already had creators from outside the US generating hours watched per Streams charts. But American channels still drove over 69% of the total. So the European edition isn't just a location change, it is a structural challenge. Can the format travel? Can the community energy replicate when the cultural context shifts? That's the real question for every student grinding right now. Because the class of 2028 might be coming from Berlin or... Okay, we're shifting gears into the dorm room spotlight, and I want to zoom in on the post-SU grind window. Because the real question isn't who popped off at Hendrix, It's who is actually holding it 5 days later. And the name I'm keeping my eye on right now is Stable Ronaldo, because the data on him is genuinely remarkable. Per streams charts, he's sitting at over 5 million Twitch followers, added nearly 393,000 new followers in the last 30 days alone, and peaked at 168,044 concurrent viewers on July 19th. An all-time record for his channel. But here's where I pump the brakes. Stable Ronaldo, born Ronnie Nets, came into SU as an already established creator. 4.5 million Twitch followers, 3.5 million on TikTok, a Wikipedia page. So the question I want us to answer in this block isn't, did he grow? It's whether a creator who, okay, I need to pull the receipts on Stable Ronaldo right now, because there are two separate allegations floating in the same news cycle, and I refuse to let them get blurred together. The viewbotting story we covered last beat was about Suburb Baby. Ron has his own cloud. Per Northeast Times, Kick CEO Eddie Craven went on episode 76 of Kick Talk and claimed that Stable Ronaldo and his core co-founder Lacey had up to 90% of their viewership botted. And Ron and Lacey have both been firing back on stream and social, using their own revenue receipts as the counter-evidence. Now here's where I land. Ron's numbers from streams charts are real, and they are enormous. 5 million Twitch followers, nearly 393K new followers in 30 days, an all-time peak of 168,044 concurrent viewers on July 19th. And Twitch Metrics has him ranked second most. Okay, we are pulling into the common room, and I need to take a breath because we have been in deep dark allegations territory for 2 straight beats. So let me give you the moment that I think actually defined the campus energy better than anything else. The talent show. Per Cassius Life, that thing had everything from legitimately good musical performances to hilarious dances, comedy bits, and clips that turned into memes before the stream even ended. And then there's the proposal. Chris Gone Crazy won Best In-Room Content at the ceremony, dropped to one knee in front of the entire class, and Real Mia Love said yes. That is the kind of unscripted, you can't manufacture that moment that no production budget in the world can buy. Okay, but I need to talk about the helicopter moment, because that is the one that lives rent-free in my head as the single best piece of unscripted content SU has ever produced. Per Complex and Sportskeeda, Phantom's SUPD crew had literally kidnapped the dean, tied him up, and left him in a field so students could sneak off to a club. And the response was to call a chopper, hover over the venue, then roll up in a SUPD car and put everyone on school buses back to campus. And look, I know people want to call that manufactured, but a rat in a mystery gift box, a pool wrestling match, a proposal mid-ceremony, you genuinely cannot script the specific flavor of chaos that SU 2026 delivered. And that is exactly the energy that turns a creator bootcamp into a cultural event. All right, we are sliding into the workshop wire, and I want to talk about the actual teaching, because that is the part that gets slept on every time the drama takes over. The professor lineup this year was stacked. Ludwig, Agent 00, Pokimane, Valkyrie, Cinna, Adapt. These are not random influencers. These are people who have navigated the full arc from nobody to institution. And per what's been circulating from people who sat in those sessions, the Ludwig and Agent 00 classes in particular generated the most real talk about YouTube, Twitch, storytelling, and actual growth strategy. Here's my thing though. The question is never who taught. It's whether the students who most needed those lessons were actually in the room absorbing them, or just performing attentiveness for the cameras. All right, let me put the receipts on the table for Agent 00's class, because the internet's verdict is basically unanimous and the data backs it up. Per Afrotech and what's been circulating widely, Agent taught 2 courses, Monetization for Dummies and Pocket Watching 101. And per Afrotech, those sessions earned him Professor of the Year at the closing ceremony. But here's what actually moves me. He didn't just lecture. Per reporting that's been circulating from the event, He facilitated 3 students landing their first brand deals worth $5,000 each and handed creator Corey Yu $2,500 out of pocket to fund his trip to DreamCon. That is not workshop theater. That is a professor putting real money and real connections behind the lesson. And that is the bar every other class at SU 2026. All right, that is our rotation. And if you've been locked in with us all the way through, you already know this wasn't a hype show. It was an honest one. SU 2026 is wrapped. The campus is quiet. But the real work starts right now. Every student who left Hendrix goes home tonight and has to decide whether they keep going. Here's where I'm sending you. Head to Streamer Up app, the multi-stream grid that auto-detects every live SU student across Twitch, Kick, and YouTube, ranked by live viewers right now. Because the students who are streaming tonight after all of that are exactly who you should be watching. And keep one eye on the horizon. SU 2027 is going to Europe. Kai said it plain on his Instagram. Streamer University is officially going global, which means next year the classroom gets a whole new continent. And I genuinely cannot wait to analyze what